Hello, hello. Come on in. Fill up. Welcome. The first Monday of April. Hello, Denise. Hey, Joni. Hey, Angela and Janelle and Katie. Welcome. I'm going to give you all just a second to pop on, but grab a piece of paper, grab some water, a pen, of course. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about the most loved oils in Young Living. And if I don't cover one that you absolutely love, then I'm going to give you guys a time at the end to pop on and share what your favorite one is, because, you know, maybe this is biased. These are like my favorite ones, but I feel like they are ones that are the everyday oils that everyone loves and utilizes the most, from what I've gathered from when I talk to people. So come on in, come on in. And it's so hard to narrow down, like, what are your favorite oils, right? You know, because one day it's peppermint and the next day it's frankincense. And then after that, it might be Valor. It's like everyone, you know, has their different oils. So come on in. I'm putting clarity on because that's what I use for just Monday night calls so I can stay focused. And it's so herbaceous. It's like basil and I don't know, all these herby oils, and it smells like the garden. So I actually like to use that one in the diffuser this time of year because it just smells like, it smells like the earth is coming alive. It smells like my garden. Okay. I have all my oils here. I'm trying to stay organized. Welcome. My name is Sarah Stutzman, and Angela, I love it. You're putting your oils on. You'll have to put it in the comments then when you're done breathing in. Don't want to ruin the moment. What you're putting on. What's everyone putting on? Yeah, let's share that. I feel like we haven't been doing that for a while. Oh, stress away. Such a good one. Such a good one. Oh, yeah. So in the chat, if you are putting on an oil, what are you putting on? What are you breathing in? Monday nights are so fun. It's just the time to like gather together as a community and learn and grow as a person, grow in your knowledge so that you can take these resources back to your family and you know, and equip your family with these tools. So, okay. So I was saying, welcome. My name is Sarah Stutzman. I am a brand partner with Young Living since 2014. I had to do the math. So Sawyer was born in 2014, and we shortly after that, like I think she was about 6 months old. She was born in April, and in October we got our oils. And at that time you had to join with a starter kit. And I was like, bring it on, because I loved oils since I was like 16. I was fascinated with them. My mom would take me to the farmer's market. You know, we'd go to the farmer's market and I would visit this little stand. It was a friend of mine. She was a couple years ahead of me, but her mom had like this herb stand and she had sold essential oils. And whenever I went over to her house, I was always mesmerized by her. And I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. I'm like 16 and I want to be this, like, you know, this mama with, you know, oils and herbs and all the things. And so I remember just like researching. I had books, and then I would use oils here and there, but it wasn't until Sawyer was born, and she's our third daughter, and she didn't sleep very well. And so I was like, just using my lavender that I had, it wasn't working well. I thought lavender should work, right? It should work. It should soothe the child, but it didn't. And then my friend, who again was my sister's best friend at the time, her mom, we were a family friend. She's like, take my lavender, use it. And she gave me this whole bottle of like brand new lavender, a 15 ml. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, just give it back when you're done. I was like, okay. I just put it on Sawyer's feet. She was 6 months old. I rubbed it, put it on her feet, and she slept. And I was like, what is this? And it smelled completely different than any lavenders I had bought at the health food store, at the farmer's markets. And I was like, and I didn't really love lavender, but this lavender I absolutely loved because it smelled like a flower. I don't know, it just smelled good. And so through all of that, we discovered Sawyer had respiratory issues. And then the doctor would put her on an antibiotic and it would rip her little gut apart. Later to find out she had gut issues too. She was very, very sensitive to dairy. And so antibiotics, gut issues, like it just was this, I just felt like I was this stressed out mama. I was like, what am I supposed to do? So in that time, we started seeing a muscle response testing doctor. And then from there, I started gaining confidence in using my oils, using supplements that the doctor would give us. And I'm going to get into it. So our first oil that I used heavily for our family was lavender. And if you don't have this reference guide, I have a few in stock, and I always give this to any new member. I always give an option, but I'm always like, pick the reference guide because it's just so full. Mine is so worn and dilapidated. Denise, I see you like, yeah, it is. I use it heavily. And so lavender was first discovered, its healing powers was first discovered by French scientist Rene, and I'm going to butcher this last name, Gratafoso. And he first discovered lavender's ability to promote tissue regeneration and speed wound healing. When he burned himself in a laboratory, he was, again, French. So Young Living does the French model. We study the French model, which is completely different than a lot of models out there. So the German and the British model are more aromatherapy, heavily diluted. And so when I always get the haters on Instagram, you need to dilute. And I'm like, no, we do the French model. We're pure therapeutic essential oils, and I will dilute when needed. But a lot of the oils that we use neat, meaning we use them just pure. And there are some oils we're going to talk about tonight that we do dilute, that are hot oils that are going to just be really sensitive on the skin. But lavender is one, that you can use neat. And so this French scientist was, in his laboratory, burned himself, dunked his hand in lavender oil, and it healed so fast. And so this is where Gary Young was like, okay, this is Gary Young's, he dove into this science, this model. Like, I want to learn about the healing properties of essential oils. And Gary Young is the founder of Young Living. And when I started out and when I started learning, like, my friend was telling me about lavender, I was like, yeah, I can get my now brand at the health food store. And, I'm on a budget. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't, these are pricey, right? But you pay for what you get. I always say you pay for what you get. We were just talking about this the other day, like upgrade, always upgrade for certain things. And so, when I smelled this, I had to have that experience. And I was like, what is this? And it worked when my other lavenders were not working. And so Gary Young believes in the science. He believed in the science of oils. He believed in growing the plants with giving them the best soil health. No chemicals are sprayed on any of the plants at Young Living. So it's all hand weeded. So you think about the price of the oils, right? But you also have to think about, okay, there's no, like, it's not this one easy, like, I'm going to spray the whole field, right? It's all hand weeded. Everything is done to a T when it comes to the science, even the research, as far as like testing when those plants are ready to be distilled, to make sure those properties are there for body support. And so that, I fell in love with that with Young Living. And I was like, okay, this is what I've been searching for. And visiting the farms and seeing the whole process just really connects you. Like, we grow our own food, we a majority of it, and we partner with farmers that we trust. And so, yes, Denise, sheep weeded too. I love it. That's something new. They will put sheep through. They will not touch the lavender plants. They will only eat the weeds. Like, that I don't know. And I love that because that's part of like who we are as a farm here. You know, Brooke and I and what we do, and just trying to do a lot of that regenerative agriculture and just use nature and use what you have rather than just going to those harsh chemicals, because those chemicals will then be in your oils and you don't want that. You know, you don't need those those residuals in your oils, because that just negates the whole, you know, the whole process. You want to use these for healing properties. So lavender, we use that for anytime the girls get a burn, you know, when we're cooking. So as soon as, you know, if they get a burn, instantly, you know, I grab the lavender, or they do, they know, like just drop it on as often as possible. All right. It just helps speed, again, that regenerates the skin and the cells. It's going to hurt. It's going to burn. It's going to, you know, do what a burn does. I'm not going to say it's like going to take the burn away, but it heals it a lot faster. And so we will use lavender for burns. We will use lavender for soothing at night, for sleeping. Obviously, it's very calming. But on the other hand, not everyone is the same. So some people will actually find that it energizes them. So you have to know you, and you have to know how these oils work for your body chemistry. But for the majority of people, like lavender is very calming. And if you don't know what to, you know, if you're like, I don't even know what oil to use, just grab an oil, use it. Your body will know how to use it and how to use these molecules. And so, Angela, earlier you were doing you were just breathing in. And so sometimes I'll just grab an oil and I'll put it in my hand and I'll spin it clockwise, because that's the way that our DNA, right, spirals. And so those molecules are spinning in the same direction. And I just breathe in like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, breathe out 5 seconds, breathe in. Like do that over and over if you just need a hot minute. You can just douse yourself in an oil like lavender, or another calming oil. And if you have a child that's having a temper tantrum, hug them and just like hold them. So your touch and the smell is, you know, you're using two of those 5 senses that you have, and it's gonna like just help them. Just they might resist you for a little bit, but just hold them tight, and then they're just gonna melt in your arms, you know. And that touch, that smell is incredible. Another oil that we love to use for that is peace and calming. So another one you want to keep in your arsenal, peace and calming. I will use, it's really, really grounding. And I use this neat, but it is a really strong oil. Very, very earthy, very grounding. There is patchouli in it, but there's also blue tansy in it, orange. And I find it to be like a heavy oil that kind of sits. And when I am having a heavy mood, this oil works. So it's good to put in the diffuser, like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock during that like witching hour when everyone's kind of grumpy, waiting for daddy to come home. And you're like, this is good. Or again, put it on. I like to put it on before I go into public. And a lot of times I'll get comments like, oh my gosh, you smell amazing. Well, I do because I want to keep myself calm, right? It's not because I want to smell amazing. It's because I want to keep myself calm. So peace and calming does exactly that. So another one you can use in your home to just at bedtime or for those big emotions. Since we're on the topic of emotions, Valor is another one that's a great one for emotions. This one instills courage, bravery, confidence. It's kind of like that. It's like that backbone oil. Like it just straightens you up. And, you know, if you're one that does not like to go into public, or you get that social anxiety, this is good. This is when I use neat. I just roll it, you know, on my wrist. I just kind of put it all over. I'll just put it in my hands, breathe it in. A lot of times all my oils kind of go on my face, behind my ears. I even I always put my oils like on the crown of my head too, or in my hair, so that when it's moving, I'm smelling it, like being that, I'm like a walking diffuser for myself. But then everyone else gets the benefits too. I have multiple bottles of Valor because I use this one and I'm like, where is it? There's oils like Lavender, Peace and Calming, Valor, all the ones I'm going to be talking about. I have multiple bottles of them because we use them so heavily. So that way I keep them in the car. I keep them in my purse. They're, in the, what we call the command centers of the home, like in my office, by the kitchen sink, on my dresser. Like they're all over the place. So that way the kids know, and I know that wherever I go, I can grab these oils because they're the most used oils in our home. I don't know. Does anyone else like, do you have multiple oils, like the same oils everywhere in your home? Right. And if you're just starting out, you can get little bottles or roller bottles and you can place them all over. You can make roller bottles and have them accessible, because I think that's the key to using oils, is having them accessible, having them out. Like I'm looking at them all over right now, having them out so that way you can just grab them and use them. And when they're out, you have those tools. And even if you're like, I don't even know what I need, but I'm going to put an oil on. That's what I do before I leave the house. A lot of times I'm like, I don't even know what I need, but I'm just going to grab an oil. What am I feeling? And I just, whatever's out, I just put it on and I leave, and it just helps me throughout the day. But Valor is always in my pocket or in my car. So Valor is one for just courage and confidence. And just when you're feeling a lot like anxious, those anxious, tight throat, racing heart kind of thing. Breathe that in, just take a hot second. Let's get into maybe some singles here, because we talked about lavender, talked about mood support, right? So lemon is like, oh my word, it's one of those go-to oils, and it's good for gunk and junk remover. It's very high in D-limonene, and I'm going to spell that here. Hopefully I don't butcher it up. Research it. Go to PubMed. Limonene. Research that. And the effects of D-limonene in the body and at the cellular level. Because for me, like we can't say too much about the healing properties of the oils and what they really do at the cellular level, but take each oil, right, and research them on PubMed. Take the blend, Thieves, pick it apart. What does cinnamon do? What does rosemary do? What does the lemon do? What does eucalyptus do? And really dive into the research. It's out there. We just can't say because, this is a network marketing company and we could profit, right? But my heart is to let you guys know what these oils do. And then when people come and gather at my home, they learn the benefits. Like I don't hide anything. Like these are plant molecules that at the cellular level, God breathed, God gave us these plant molecules to use for body support. And no batch is the same. So it's completely different than pharmaceuticals, where every batch is the same. They're like big molecules that come in and they do their job. But these molecules are tiny. They go in. Every batch is different because every growing season is different. And so that is what makes essential oils really different from, and homeopathy, plants, any kind of plant medicine. It's so different, right? Does it work as fast? Sometimes not, right? It depends how long your body has been stressed, shall we say, right? Has it been stressed for 10 years? It's going to be taking a while for healing. But let's just say lemon. Lemon is the junk and gunk remover. And so I like to use this for cleaning, but I love to put it in the diffuser for mood support. It's so uplifting. But I also like to use it in my water or my Ningxia Red, and just a drop. And so when it goes in, it helps clean off receptor sites. Okay. It helps detox. It helps move gunk along. So it's really good for the lymphatic system. And so anytime you have a sore throat or your glands are swollen, and my kids are just coming through some colds. Like it's just been a funky winter, right? And leading into spring. And so my kids are just feeling a little like clogged. And so I put lemon all over their lymph system, like down their ears, on their neck here. But again, any kind of citrus oil is photosensitive. So we're not going out in the sunshine, right? So don't go out and like, hey sun, and run around, because it's going to attract sunlight. And you're going to burn your skin. But obviously, like wintertime, when you're feeling gunky and clogged up, or at nighttime, you can use it at night over your lymph nodes, and it really helps clear that. I like to add it to some honey and put it in, in some tea. And when you pair it with peppermint and lavender, it's really good for seasonal support. So a lot of people will use it, lemon, lavender, and peppermint in their diffuser to help clear sinuses and all that. I go outside and my car is full of pollen, right? And so it's in the air, because lavender helps soothe the lungs, right? Lemon helps move gunk along, helps move the mucus, and then peppermint is good for opening up the respiratory system. Okay, opening up the sinuses. You can make a roller bottle of lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So like 10 or 20 drops of each, depending on how heavy you want to go on that ratio. If you're just starting out, low and slow is the best. So 10 drops of each in a 10 ml roller bottle. And then fill it the rest of the way with fractionated coconut oil or any carrier oil of your choice. But peppermint is also amazing for not just opening the airways, but for clarity. I thought I had a study here. Peppermint is good for the digestive system. It actually tells your body, like if you put a little drop of peppermint in with your water while you're eating, it tells your body, like it tells that, is it the hypothalamus gland, I believe. And I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. It says it's that satiating part of the brain, like, hey, I'm full. So a drop of peppermint in your water, 1 drop, it's so strong. And a little bit of salt just to help it disperse. It's also really good for energy too. But on the other hand, some people find peppermint calming and lavender uplifting. So you have to know your body. So maybe you prefer peppermint at nighttime to calm. It all depends on your adrenal axis. Like if you're like that go person and you can't calm down at night, peppermint might be your go-to. You might be completely reversed if you're that stressed out person. So try it out and see, do you like lavender? Do you like peppermint? But peppermint is one that I do dilute when needed because it's a menthol oil. And so it could be a little tingling on the skin, but peppermint's very cooling too. So as a mama, instead of using Tylenol to bring my kids' fevers down, guess what I use? Peppermint. So I will use this on their feet and spine, diluted, because you don't want to bring a fever down too fast because you don't want to send them into, shock or seizure or anything like that. But growing up, my grandma would always use alcohol on our armpits because it's cooling, right? So peppermint has that same effect. She would, put us in cold baths, or, my mom would put us in a cold bath. So you want to bring that fever down with coolness. And so peppermint does that. So feet, spine, even armpits, but again, diluted with a carrier oil. So these oils have so many different properties, and I love that about plants. Even in herbal medicine, when I teach my herbal medicine courses, you're using an oil for digestion, but it also works for respiratory. Like, how awesome is our God that he created these plants that aren't just meant for one thing, right? We can use them for so many different things. And the same thing with oils. So, those are some singles. And then Young Living, I told you, like, they're blends, like Peace and Calming, Valor. Those are blends. So those would be oils that are like single oils that are all mixed together. One of the oils that we used heavily when Sawyer was a baby, and I could hear the croupy cough coming on anytime we took her out this time of year, like anytime from like fall, winter, spring, like we had this, like, it was like, I felt like I was trapped in the house all the time. Anytime we took her outside, she would get this croupy cough. So she had reactive airways, which is what I've learned over the years, that everything just bothered her lungs. And then she would get this cough and I heard it. And then we would use RC. I would stock up on this. This used to be in the premium starter kit. They replaced it with Raven, which I also use Raven a lot too. It's just different menthol oils. Like Raven is heavy on the wintergreen, whereas RC is more eucalyptus, but then also has lavender and myrtle, which is really soothing for the lungs. And Young Living used to have a limit on this because it was such a popular oil. And during that time, sometimes they put limits on oils because of the growing season. And if it's a really popular oil, it goes fast. And if there's not enough, like it sells out. And so sometimes they'll put a limit on it. And at that moment, they had a limit on it. And so I was getting my mom to order this for me. I was ordering my limit. And I would have a squirrel stash because I would put this in the diffuser for Sawyer when she was a baby. And I would put it kind of far away from her crib because, eucalyptus oils and babies, they always say it's really strong, which it is. And so I was using caution, and I would creep in at night and I would check, is she still breathing? But it would help her, like it would help open up her lungs. I would make a chest rub with coconut oil. So you can mix this with coconut oil and make a natural chest rub rather than Vicks that has petroleum in it. And all those chemicals that are seeping into the biggest organ of your body, which is your skin. But oh yes, Denise, RC smells so good. And so we've been using this a lot because we've had like a seasonal cold. And so it's one our family still loves. And we'll just open it up and just breathe it in or drop it in our hands and breathe it in if we're feeling really stuffy and congested. RC stands for respiratory comfort. And then 2 oils that I love to have for this time of year. I couldn't decide which one it was, but I don't know if your kids are like this or grandkids, but anytime spring happens, I feel like my kids are getting their summer legs again. Like they forget what it's like to run around. I mean, they're out all the time, but as soon as bare skin shows, they fall and they bumps and bruises and oh my word, we have so many scratches and stuff and boo-boos. So it's lavender on the boo-boo and then Melrose and Purification. So Melrose is a combination of various melaleuca oils, right? So it's not just tea tree. I always tell moms, get this. It's like 20 bucks. This is the most amazing oil. I just ordered one. It's brand new because I'm all out. And I think it's lasted me for like 2 years, maybe. I mean, they last. But it has various melaleuca oils in, and then clove and rosemary, which is super healing. And so this goes on any cuts, bruises, bumps, and I put it on neat. And usually it's like, I'm like, do you remember your mom putting peroxide on your burns, on your cuts? It's like it burns. But this, I'm like, this is healing. So if you have sensitive children, you can mix it with some water and some witch hazel if you want to make a spray. Witch hazel is very healing as well. So you can just mix it with some witch hazel and make a spray to put on their skin. You can add Purification as well. This has citronella, lemongrass, let me see, rosemary, tea tree, myrtle. So again, very, very healing, soothing to the skin. So, I love to use lavender, Purification, and Melrose. Those are my go-to for skin stuff in the summertime. And then Melrose, I love this time of year as well, when you have all the gunk and junk, right? We've had just a lot of like all the ears. And Angela, you said you used the ear thing that I was sharing, but I love to use Melrose with a little bit of olive oil because it's warming. Like maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon, depending on, how sensitive your children are. Drop of Melrose and dip that like a cotton ball in. And I'll take it around the ears when they say my ear hurts. I'll take it around the earlobe, down the lymph right here, down the neck, even like sinus area, because it all gets stuck, right? It's all interconnected. And then take that cotton ball and put it right inside the ear and let them sleep on it at night. And I'll do that, even if it's still hurting. Most times they're like, it's good. By the morning, it's good. But if it's not, if they're really congested, I'll do it again during the day, and they just keep that cotton ball in there. And it works. I love Melrose because it's so drawing. So Melrose and Purification, again, another arsenal oil for body support. And then last 2 oils, telling you guys, I had so many oils and I'm like, what can people have in their arsenal? These are the ones you want to have. Thieves, of course, Thieves. Thieves essential oil is the most amazing oil ever. It is one I use for cleaning. We use for purifying the air. I put it in the diffuser. A lot of times it's like fall and winter. Spring, I usually switch out and do spring diffuser blends, but then that's when like things hit and I'm like, dang, I should have kept the Thieves in. But Thieves and lemon and Thieves and orange or Thieves and citrus fresh in the diffuser are amazing, and it cleans the air because there's cinnamon in it. There is rosemary, clove, lemon, eucalyptus, all the oils that are very purifying, and they support the immune system. I will make roller bottles and we roll this on our spine and feet when the kids are sick. And even before that, I feel like I've been really lax because we're home, we home educate. And so we're not around a lot of people. So I don't do this as much, but our kids then, when they do get sick, I'm like, man, I should have been using this in a roller bottle on my kids, proactively. So proactive is the best, but we're using Thieves in our cleaners, like the Thieves cleaner, Thieves toothpaste, Thieves laundry soap. So they're getting Thieves in all the things that are going on their skin, in their mouth, all over the place. And then the last oil is Panaway. Panaway is a good muscle supporting oil, good for head tension. So I use this one on any kind of like cramps, backache, any kind of like sore knee, head tension. And that one I will mix with coconut oil because it's a pretty powerful oil, very mentholy. So wintergreen, helichrysum, and clove. Clove is numbing. Helichrysum is great for bones, ligaments, structural parts of the body. And then wintergreen is good for, it smells like Bengay, but I love it. It smells like root beer actually. And so it's good for emotions too. I actually love it for emotional support. But anytime my kids get pinched fingers, which that happens, or, they slam their hand in a door or something, Panaway goes on it. And so we use these things often. These are our arsenals. Okay. So comment what your favorite oil is. We have like 7 minutes left. Comment what your favorite oil is, or you can unmute yourself and tell me, what's your favorite oil? Did I miss one? And how do you use it and why do you love it? Go ahead, Denise.
So Copaiba used to be in the kit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is absolutely one of my favorites. It's just super calming. It's great for your skin. I like to layer oils. So I'll have this in the morning. I'll put this on my brainstem, and then it kind of calms everything down. And then when you layer another oil in, it helps it almost to like amplify the oil. Kind of like a driver a little bit, but in a very calm way. So, and I always like to tell people it's the same constituents in as CBD oil. So you put it under my tongue as well. So then I'll put frankincense after I put the Copaiba. I'll put frankincense on. Helps with just my morning. I read the Bible in the morning and stuff, so it helps with my concentration, focus, and everything. But Copaiba is, it's one of my favorites.
Yes.
And I just got to tell you that Rebecca and I taught 2 classes last Wednesday at this medical. I'm like so excited because this guy is, signing up all his students, okay, with the starter bundle. So we just taught 2 classes, and there was a girl there that they brought their oils that he normally would give them. And then there was a girl there that does doTERRA, right? So she was really excited to smell the oils that we had, right? So I did the starter bundle and we passed them around, and her face was like priceless because she just said, I can't believe the difference.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I thought I had the top shelf oils. Like she didn't look anywhere else. She thought, and she literally said, that is garbage.
Oh, no.
She said it came out of her mouth.
Mhm.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that people notice the difference right away with using the Young Living compared to other companies, even reputable companies. They notice the difference.
Absolutely. And Young Living was founded before doTERRA, before, Gary Young is the one that brought all these, this research, this French research. He was the one that went diving into it. And I wish we had more time to dive into his history, because that is just fascinating. But yes, we need to be able to smell these oils. Thank you, Denise, for sharing that, because I had Copa Ebed. I was like, I'm like counting the ones I have. I'm like, so thank you for bringing that up. That is, I do put that under my tongue, and it helps with inflammation, or under my eyes if I need it sometimes. Angela, you said you use frankincense for calming. Oh, I love frankincense too, slowing down. And yeah, having these things by your bed at nighttime too, when you wake up in the middle of the night, just to grab lavender or cedarwood or frankincense. Oh, so good. Yes. And you put it on your face, neck, and throat, hugging your children, just like I was saying, RC in the diffuser at bedtime, lavender in the kids. And my kids are all old enough. They have diffusers, they have oil shelves, and they do their thing, and they fill their diffusers at night. And so my girls have grown to know, like, that's what they reach for when they need it. And yeah, having them available. So, I just keep Panaway on hand. And if I need to dilute it, I will. Joni, I will just grab, I actually use this one neat. I said, when I first started, I used it diluted, but now I use it neat. But if I'm using it in a large area for like a back pain, I will dilute it with some coconut oil. So that way it just helps with that large surface area. Yeah. So you have to know your body, low and slow. But when I first started, I diluted a lot. But now that I know, like, oh, I just grab these oils and use them, and again, a lot of people will be like, no, you need to dilute. And really dilution just helps slow the absorption rate. And so if it's a hot oil like cinnamon, clove, oregano, lemongrass, those will burn your skin, and you want to use a coconut oil. Menthol oils like peppermint, wintergreen, those are just going to be a little bit more tingly on your skin. But Panaway, I love to pair with like a hot compress. And so it'll be like an icy hot. And so with that, then I will dilute it. If I know I'm using it in a large area with like a warm compress, then I'll dilute it. Yeah. So if anyone is new here and you're like, I need to get some of these oils, I want to try some of these oils, I am putting together a little starter, like a sampler pack for you. I'm going to put in my form here, fill it out, and I'll send you just some of the samples, some of the oils we talked about tonight, not all of them, but some of them for you to try and play around with. If you have never ordered from Young Living before, if you are curious about, okay, well, how does their lavender compared to the one that I'm using? Complete this. I'll send you some samples. If someone else, invited you tonight, reach out to them. I'm sure they will be very happy to send you some samples, because I think the experience, you have to have the experience first, of like using these oils. And so experience them and then touch base with them, because there's so many ways that you can get these oils in your home, and to start using these tools, keeping them on shelves, keeping them close by, and utilizing these tools, these little sidekicks that you can just put in your pocket, right? They're so easy to use. So I just thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for, learning more ways to equip yourself and your family with these little molecules in your home. Blessings to you guys, and we'll see you on the next call. It's at the end of April, and we're talking all business things at the end of April. All right. Good night. Take care. If you have any questions, reach out. Bye.